Welcome to MCTV Extra Point. I'm your host, as you know, CJ Ritchie. My guests tonight are Nick Lucarelli and Cameron Watkins. Guys, our last show for the season. Happy that you guys stuck with me the whole time. Appreciate it.
It was rough, but we made it.
Yeah, it is. You can't really get much more fun than doing this, right? Start off, we got 3 Game 7 NHL matchups tonight. We're going to start off with Colorado and Minnesota. Ryan Suter on Nathan McKinnon, the rookie winger for Colorado. It's really important. Or center or winger?
He's a center.
Center. See, I'm wrong again.
He's a forward.
We'll just go forward, generalize. But I think that's going to be a really big matchup tonight if Suter can stop the offense because he's the big man on D. What's your take on the series?
Well, I think it's going to be probably the best game tonight. I think it's going to be the closest game. I think it goes to overtime, but I think Varlamov takes it, and that's why I think Colorado wins. I think, he's going to outplay Danny Kaye. He's technically a rookie. He's a young goaltender. I think the rest, it's really even when you think about it. But between the home ice and the better goaltending of Varlamov, I really can't see Minnesota taking it, even though I'd like to.
Yeah, so you want Minnesota? Yeah, I understand.
I believe Colorado, they're going to continue to ride this momentum that they've kept throughout this entire series. I believe Colorado, they're going to win, just like you said, in overtime. Yeah.
I got rookie goaltender Darcy Kuemper. He's a really good player. He's really shown a lot of heart. Brzgalov couldn't stop water. I don't understand. He couldn't do anything.
He never could.
But
the Flyers are still paying him.
They keep paying him millions of dollars while he rides the pine in Minnesota. Moving down to the next series, San Jose and LA Kings. Tied 3-3, as you know, Game 7. But LA Kings come with 3-0 deficit. Reminds me of Boston, Philly a couple years ago. Yeah. And behind Justin Williams and Ozzy Kopitar, combined 7 goals, 6 assists. Do you think LA's momentum will completely take over this series?
Yeah, I think it's different with the Minnesota-Colorado. I think LA wins it handily tonight in a rout. I think 4-1. I just can't see San Jose. They are home, which I think is really the best thing that's going for them. Or just, when they come down that 3, all the pressure is on San Jose, all of it.
Yeah,
with LA, if LA loses, man, it was still a heck of a series, and they still came back. If San Jose loses, man, how many years has it been now where they're the next team to beat and they can't get out of the first round? It's all on San Jose, and I think Niemi lets a couple in, and I think LA takes it.
I believe experience is going to play a major factor right now. I believe the Kings, they went to the Stanley Cup, I believe, last season or a season before.
Yeah, two seasons ago, yeah.
I believe experience is a major factor right now, so I'm going with the Kings right now.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Jonathan Quick, the goalie's still in his head, playing amazing, just like you see he is. Team USA, so we love him here. Another thing, Joe Thornton, Joe Pavelski, very established, Patrick Marleau, and they get Niemi back tonight, as my colleague said. Niemi's going to start after being hurt, so it's going to be really interesting to see what happens tonight. Now, my favorite series, a lot of personal implications in this game. We got New York Rangers taking on the Philadelphia Flyers. It's going to be at MSG for Game 7. Me and my colleague Nick were at the game last night at Game 6. I'm happy to say Flyers won 5-2 with a hat trick by Wayne Simmons?
It wasn't a real hat trick, but technically
it was a fake hat trick where I threw my hat on the ice and had a really good time. Now, I know I'm going to hear your unbiased opinion. What happens tonight?
What happens tonight?
Why does it happen tonight?
What I think happens tonight is the Rangers win at 3-2, but that's really just an objective opinion based off of prior experience the Rangers have in Game 7s. And it just comes down to I think the Flyers have a little bit more edge when it comes to this game specifically, but the home ice bounces out, so it's really a 50-50 shot. I think that's the trouble when it gets to these. Now, even though it's a 7-game series, it's down to 1 game, so anything can happen. But I think Lundqvist outplays Mason. I think it's going to be a tight one, but I think the Rangers take it.
And it's every game, and I believe every Game 7. Yeah, obviously the team. Well, not all the time, but every lower seed won Game 6.
Yeah.
And they're taking it to the other place. Game 7. So as you say, it's all 50-50. It's a crapshoot tonight.
Yeah, it's tough. I think they're all going to be pretty good games. That's what you want to see. You don't want to see your team or any team if you're watching hockey you lose 5-2. I think tonight's going to be a tight one, but. Yeah, it's really you don't know what's going to happen until it starts to happen. Once the first period gets under your belt, I think you'll kind of get understanding. But before now, it's really it's a crapshoot, like you said.
It's going to be a really tight game. This has really been an entertaining series throughout the whole the whole duration. So it's tough to pick a clear-cut favorite.
No, yeah. Goalies have been bad. Goalies have been good.
Yeah.
McDonough's played defense that he can.
Lundqvist has played great in the net. So is Mason. I believe he had 34 saves last night.
Yeah, he had a couple great ones, a lot of weak shots.
Yeah, come on.
It was a good defense. That's
no,
not
yeah,
good defense
the
from
Flyers defense played well. There's no doubt about that. And I'm not trying to take away Mason. He made the saves he had to. But let's relax.
Another thing, Mark Streit was almost out for he got really shook up, but he's back. Everything's good. So Can't wait for an NHL game tonight. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the NBA playoff games tonight. Stay tuned.
Body language can tell you all sorts of things. Like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. Face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty. Time to call 911 and get them to a hospital immediately. Learn the body language and spot a stroke fast.
For those dealing with the daily struggles of caring for a loved one, we hear you. That's why AARP created a community with experts and other caregivers to help us better care for ourselves and the ones we love.
Welcome back to MCTV Extra Point. As I promised, we're going to talk about the NBA games that happened tonight for the playoffs. It's been a really, really interesting thing with the Dallas Sterling thing taken away from the sports. But that's where we're done. Talk about the sports first, and we'll talk about Sterling and his nuisance problem later. All right, we're going to start off with the Dallas Mavericks and the San Antonio Spurs, tied 2-2, and a lot of interesting stuff going on. Two aging teams with a lot of veteran players that can play very well. You got, but as another young, he's not too old, but Monte Ellis, who's kind of in that veteran stage. He's getting 20.3 points per game for Dallas, which is big because Dirk's not scoring as much as he used to, and the team's really coming around. Vince Carter's playing well, and on the other side, Manu Ginobili's 19.8 points a game. And Timmy Duncan's playing like Timmy Duncan. Mm-hmm. So what do you guys think about tonight's game? Who's taking it? Why?
Well, I think San Jose takes it. Not San Jose. San Antonio takes it because
goes back to hockey.
Yeah, everything is about hockey here at MCTV Extra Point. Now, San Antonio takes it. I think a lot of it has to do with Ginobili attacking the net the way he is.
He's coming off the bench.
Yeah,
he's got the most points on the team.
And it's pretty impressive. And I think a lot of it has to do with it being in San Antonio. Obviously, it's 2-2 split. It's a big game for them. They lose this game, then they have to go back to Dallas, down 3-2. That's not a good situation to be in. I think they know that, and they're a smart enough team and better enough team to know that sort of thing. So then they take it tonight.
This is going to be a big game 5 for the San Antonio Spurs. I believe they're going to take this. They're going to go to Dallas and lose game 6, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to take the Spurs in 7. But Manu Ginobili, he has to play big for the Spurs to come out on top.
He's been doing it, yeah.
He has to.
Excuse me. We'll cut this out.
We might not.
Yeah, we're not. Cigarettes are bad for everyone, okay, kids? Brooklyn Nets are going to take on Toronto Raptors, and that's a 2-2 series just as well. DeMar DeRozan, 24.5 points per game. Really the star of Toronto, a team that's got nothing to lose, playing like nobody gives them any respect. Mm. I really don't see...
It's all right.
I really don't see Brooklyn beating them at all. What do you think, Nick?
Well, I think Brooklyn beats them just because of how poor the offensive output was last game, and I think Joe Johnson steps up because he was just bottled up last game, and that's what it comes down to. Like, he's got to step up. The entire unit step up, but it starts with him, and they get going. Them scoring only 79 points last game, I think it was.
Yeah, it was.
They need to score more, and they know that. And I think they're going back to Brooklyn. I think they take it tonight, but I think Toronto wins the series, but I think purely talking tonight's game, I think Brooklyn takes it.
I would like to see Brooklyn win this series simply put because Brooklyn, they assembled this team, for them to come out of the East and compete with the Miami Heat. That's the main reason why I want to see Brooklyn win this series. But, you have an aging roster trying to compete with a lot of young guns, a lot of young legs. So it's pretty tough for the Brooklyn Nets to win this series.
No, I completely agree. Joe Johnson's getting 19.5 points per game. It's a really interesting series. All the aging players against a completely young team, inexperienced. Moving on, the Houston Rockets are getting beat right now 3-1 by the Portland Trail Blazers with LaMarcus Aldridge at the helm with Damian Lillard.
Yeah,
Damian Lillard playing very good second-tier basketball. Aldridge is leading points with 35 and also rebounds for the Trail Blazers because he's the big man who could score. Harden and Howard are doing their part, but Jeremy Lin isn't as active as I would wish for the Houston Rockets to be. It's 2-2 right now. Oh, no, it's 3-1, sorry. 3-1 Portland. Well, what happens?
Well, I think Houston wins because at home, I don't think they can lose 4-1 tonight because it ends the series. I think because it's a do-or-die game, they win it because they're in their own building, but I can't see them win another one. I think Portland takes the next game, but I think purely talking tonight, when you're down 3-1, and we saw it with the Flyers game, it's virtually impossible to outplay a team, outwork a team when it's do or die for them and not for you, especially when you're up 3-1, not 3-2. Like, there's room in the back of your mind for some leeway. With them, it's this is it.
Let's win it at home.
Yep, and they're at home. You have to win, period. And being at home makes it that much harder to play them. And Houston still has talent, even though they haven't been playing that great. So I think Houston takes it with relative ease.
What I think it's going to come down to is these big men, Dwight Howard and LaMarcus Aldridge. Simply put, throughout this entire series, LaMarcus Aldridge has outworked, out-hustled Dwight Howard, and you cannot take anything from Dwight Howard because he's played big, but LaMarcus Aldridge, he's been playing bigger. He's just outworking him throughout this series, but I do believe Houston, they will win Game 5, but look for the Portland Trailblazers to win Game 6.
Game 6, yeah.
It's going to be great games. Hopefully, as long as you can get as much NBA or NHL in your system, please watch the games tonight. It's going to be really fun. Now going over to a different touchy subject, Donald Sterling for the NBA, the Clippers Clippers owner, probably going to be former, was banned forever by the NBA by the new commissioner. He was fined $2.5 million, but he's $1.6 billion net worth. And I would like to say, starting out, none of us on this show, I can speak for everyone, they can speak for me, we are not racists. So any of our views, either way, racist towards anyone, that's not how it is. This is purely objectional. Nick, what's your what do you take on this?
Well, just real quick, just like, the tapes isolated from themselves, just the tapes, just because I knew nothing of this man's prior history. I don't really watch basketball that much. I've heard the name before. I know he owned the Clippers, but just knowing nothing about him personally, the tapes I thought were pretty odd because it was just like he was it was like almost as if he knew he was being taped.
Yeah.
But obviously he didn't. He was
like
dancing around what he was trying to say.
You thought it would be more vulgar. You thought it would be more just hateful, but it was just weird.
It sounds funny. I know. If I was a racist, I would imagine that if in the privacy of my own home, I would say what I want, right?
I would have went through the list.
You would think that, probably. But, this guy's obviously has racial tendencies, but he was really watching what he was saying, and I thought it was very strange. And purely off those tapes, although it is clear that he isn't exactly the best human being, I don't think it was that egregious to the extent that people were making it out to be. But then, I wasn't aware of his prior history. The comments 2004, where he said he wants the people in the draft to give me some black, stupid country boys, that's not exactly the best defense for someone who's trying to say he's not truly a racist. Also, now, there's been problems with people's owners before and other, people in sports, and people come to their aid, they come to their defense.
Yeah.
Not one player on the Clippers or executive has said anything positive about Sterling. They've either said no comment or they've attacked him.
Baron Davis has some very negative words for him.
You would think if he had any inkling of, being just at least a good guy, at least you would say something to help the guy out, but no one is even touching the subject in the Clippers. They're part of the Clippers organization. That's a bad sign. But
everyone does remember the Elgin Baylor lawsuit as well. Anybody that pays attention to Clippers basketball, the Elgin Baylor suit was big, and it was because of another problem with Donald Sterling.
Well, I just think, I take a little bit of the Mark Cuban view. Mark Cuban is an owner, and he, like you said to them, because you have to make it clear that we do not agree with what he's saying by any stretch of the imagination. But what he was saying, what I tend to agree with, is that it's kind of a slippery slope when you start attacking somebody like monetary, they make a living off their team for their personal beliefs. Obviously, this is an extreme case. And if it were to stop here, if this would be the end of it, I would say I agree with it. But, what happens if, you take away a team from somebody because, they don't like Friends, they don't like to show Friends, but everybody else does. It sounds silly, but that's a personal belief. And one's about a human being, a set of people.
It's very hard.
It's just a slippery slope that it's important that the precedent doesn't take over people, and it becomes a thing where you're now seeing guys getting pushed out simply because of their personal beliefs. Again, this is an extreme case. I don't agree with it, but this could mean something later down the line.
You think there's going to be rules, and it's going to get very touchy, politically correct in basketball when it's a sport, and we'd rather care about the sport instead of what people say off of it. Cam?
Well, when I listen to these recordings, It's just like you just said, he was very, very cautious with his words as if he was being recorded, like he was trying to work around using the N-word or as if he was trying to refrain from saying it. So it's like
a weird sense of really bad respect.
It was strange.
It's like he knew he was being recorded, but at the same time he didn't know if he was being recorded.
Yeah.
So like
treading lightly, like walking on eggshells. It was
so like
weird.
What I can't understand is like, I know he has this, we like people around the league like know like he has this this troubled racist past. So like you can't take away that he has this background because that's the way he was brought up. But like you can't bring that into the light and force it upon others and force it upon their beliefs because we have like for example, you have different beliefs, you have different beliefs, and I have different beliefs. So like you can't you can't make people believe different things. Like
if he wasn't a racist, he would still be in the NBA.
Yeah, but I think Commissioner Silver, he responded well in handling this because I believe if he wasn't going to bash him out of the league altogether, I believe he would have had a tremendous backlash on him because
he was in a tough position.
You have to consider he just took over the league in February. So
there's nothing else for him to do.
He would have had a tremendous backlash on him. I believe he would have lost a lot of respect from not only the owners but from the players. He would have lost a lot of endorsements. So he was in a tough, murky situation. So he had to do what was not only best for the league, he had to do what was best for himself. It was a tough situation altogether.
I agree. You know, I still think that it's a dangerous thing to have this thing established, that you can take something away from somebody for something they said in the privacy of their own homes. Again, to make it clear, I do not agree with what he's saying. And again, this particular case, if it was only this case and there was nothing that could be brought upon from this, I would agree with it. But you know, I still think it's dangerous. Another thing, though, which I find particularly upsetting, is the two steps back approach a lot of people are taking. Like I believe it was a former Knicks player, Larry Johnson, I believe.
Grandmama?
There should be an all-black league now.
Really?
Which you know, that's not the answer, man. That's fighting fire with fire in the wrong way, man. But that's not the way. And again, like.
So wait, so that's what I'm saying. He doesn't want any white people in his thing. Should he not be allowed to own a team?
No, it's
in response to this, but it's
a retort. So that's what makes it strange.
I completely think he's a racist, Donald Sterling. I do, because of what I've heard about Baron Davis, just because of the way he acts. But just because you're a bad person doesn't mean it's business. It's like church and state are separated. Business and personal views are separated. I understand First Amendment does not, like certain jobs, I can't work at a food place and say whatever the hell I want whenever I want because there's guidelines, there's rules. An owner is a little different than a coach or a player.
I know what you're saying, but another thing is, though, I don't know how you agree. I don't know if you guys agree, but I understand not wanting to play for him.
No, yeah.
I understand not wanting to work for him.
I
wouldn't want to work for him.
No,
but to take the team away from him is different. Like you said, I think the owner aspect makes it different. It's taking somebody's property for their personal beliefs. That is what happened.
Yeah. The NBA's personal belief was that you are not fit to run this team because
of your personal beliefs.
Because of his personal beliefs. Because you have to think about it. He has a black coach working for him. He has Doc Rivers working for him. He's a black African American coach.
Mark! Anna! Hey, forgot your lunch.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Because kids in foster care don't need perfection. They need you.
Good one, son.
Last summer, my new dad took me on vacation. First, we went deep sea fishing.
Wow! I'm so proud of you, son.
And then we went on Thunder Shark. That was awesome! Let's go again. 3 times. I gotta say, it was pretty cool.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Oh, not again.
Thank you for calling your GED Pep Talk Center. All right, now, are you ready for your GED Pep Talk?
Being nervous is okay. It just shows that you're serious about getting your diploma.
A lot of things are scary. Heck, I'm scared of clowns.
No quiero ir. Danny, no lo puedo hacer.
DMC, life in your pep talk style.
Just keeping it real, Debs. Just keeping it real. Whatever motivation you need, we've got a pep talk for you. Get your GED pep talk and find free classes at yourged.org.
Welcome back to MCTV Extra Point. Now we're going to do some draft coverage. It's going to come up very soon, and hopefully your favorite team gets who you want. Nick, who makes the most impact on their first year NFL play in the draft? Any player, Any round.
The projected first-round picks. I think the most impact in terms of numbers, I think is going to be Sammy Watkins, simply because I think he's going to go to a receiver-hungry team.
Well, that's another thing. Where do you believe he's going?
Well, at this point in the time, you can only really pay attention to the mock drafts, and they know more than we do simply because they're talking to the people, they're getting the inside information. It seems to be Rams or Browns, and to me,
I want him on the Browns. I like him on the Browns personally.
I think he's getting a lot of targets, and that's why I think he makes the most impact.
If he goes to the Rams, that's another thing. The Rams are a dangerous young team.
Oh yeah, well we've established that. We've called that before, and when it happens, we can look back on this and say, haha. But we knew that was going to happen. But I just think even if Sammy Watkins turns out to be not that good of a player down the line, this year he's going to get a lot of targets, so he's going to get his 1,000 yards.
And I think if he goes to the Browns with Josh Gordon, that's his name, right?
Yeah.
I think there's no way that he's going to have 80 receptions.
He's going to have a good year in terms of numbers. I think there's no doubt about it, whether he goes to the Rams or the Browns. And most teams in the top 10.
Because you have Austin
on the Rams, yeah.
Austin
and Stephen Bailey,
and then you got Gordon, and then the Cameron.
Yeah, Jordan Cameron, yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting. Wherever he goes, he's got some offensive weapons around him. He's not the only one.
Those seems to be the two teams, and I think when you get a lot of targets, you're going to get yards, and I think it's going to, in terms of numbers, he's going to have a big impact.
Cam?
Well, I want to say Sammy Watkins going to the Browns or the Rams, either or. The only thing about Sammy Watkins going to the Browns is they don't have a steady quarterback, so it's who's going to be throwing the ball to him?
Brian Hoyer, man.
Who's going to be
good?
Who's going to be throwing the ball to him though? That's the only thing.
Well, that's the only thing. They're probably getting a rookie quarterback because they have two
draft picks. That's what I'm saying. They're probably going to be drafting.
I'm sure they'll get Boyd or they'll get Manziel because they can trade up.
No, they're projecting at least either Bridgewater or Manziel to get to that pick, so they can get their old guy Watkins.
And they're saying Bridgewater's dropping into the second round now.
So they can get him there, or even the second round.
Well, watch the Eagles, or watch Dallas. The Eagles just snatch him up just because the best player in the draft's there to them on their boards.
Yeah, Chip Kelly says he picks by best player on the board, not need.
Because you can trade him, you can use him. The other guy that you have might not be as good. It's better to pick the best player in the draft.
I wouldn't pick Bridgewater in the first round.
Do you think Johnny Manziel can make an impact with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Yes.
He can make an impact.
Especially with the coach,
He's going to make an impact wherever he goes.
Lovie Smith has never had a quarterback like
Other than Jacksonville.
Lovie Smith has always played with a Rex Grossman, a Jay Cutler, a big, tall guy who's
not
that
bad. They got McCown, though. I think it's McCown's job to lose, though.
But if you bring a rookie in, McCown will play well, but a rookie just shows a little bit of excitement.
I'd be interested to find out whether Manziel plays this year because Jacksonville the Bucs. I would imagine them sitting him. I don't know about
It's going to be an open.
It's going to be an open
competition.
I'm talking about Tampa Bay.
It'll be an open competition between him and Luke McCown.
Well, Josh, I think McCown takes it though. Just because of the experience of them. McCown played well last year.
That'll definitely be an interesting thing to see. Who's the highest rated player who's going to make the least impact his first year?
Just his first year, I'm talking. I think Greg Robinson makes the least amount of impact his first year simply because of his division. He has to face the Aldens, maybe not Alden, but the Justin Smith combination in San Francisco as an offensive tackle. He's got to face the John Abraham, Darnell Dockett combination in Cardinals. And he's also got to face the Cliff Averill and Michael Bennett combination in Seattle twice a year. That's just his divisional games. He's going to have a rough time. I mean, if he doesn't, he should be Rookie of the Year because that's a lot of people he has to face.
Agree.
I just think his first year coming in, he's a little bit raw and he's so talented. I think he's going to end up being a really good pro. But starting off, I can't see him having a really good year. I think he's going to be looked at as a bust at first, but I think he's going to end up playing well down the stretch. But this year, it's tough. It's tough sledding. I
agree wholeheartedly. Greg Robinson, he was a tremendous talent during his time at Auburn. Like I told you before, I believe he was the reason why Trey Mason had that tremendous Heisman candidacy.
A lot of left side runs, yeah.
So Greg Robinson, it's going to be tough if he gets drafted by the Rams for
that seems to be that's probably the most consensus I've seen by all the mock drafts. It seems he's going number 2.
It's clear cut he's going to go number 2.
Yeah.
It's clear cut.
My most impact player, I'm going to go with Clinton Dix because he's going to go to a team that's good but needs a puzzle piece. He needs that safety, so he's going to be able to play against good players. Mm-hmm. He's not going to be alone like one of these. I think the lowest impact of a good player, all the offensive linemen, because they're going to have to go to a team that's not going to be that good. They're going to have to the Rams is probably an exception, but the division's hard, so either or. But I think the linemen are going to have the toughest time because you send a great lineman to a team who's not that good because they have a high pick like Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And he's just bored. He doesn't want to be there. He's going to have to block for someone who's not going to get him touchdowns. And I don't know. It's going to be a very long season for any offensive lineman this year.
Yeah.
Who do you think has the best career? Pure speculation, very early to tell, but who's got the best career?
I think just because I think he's the safest guy and one of the safest guys in the draft. The next question, my most safe, one of the safest guys. I think just because how intelligent he is and the way he can tackle. I think Chris Borland, I talked about him on the show before, the linebacker from Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
I just think
stock has risen.
They're listening to me. I think he's just a surefire pick. He's going to get his 100 tackles every year. He's going to get his 5 picks every year. He's gonna captain the team as soon as he gets on the field. He's gonna be the play caller. You can just see it when he was playing in college. And I think because it'll work to his credit if he goes lower in the first, high in the second, he'll go to a better team instead of a Jacksonville. Imagine him going to the Eagles. How much better he'd make that defense.
I really think like players like Sean Lee, Luke Kuechly, these shorter guys, bigger,
thinner.
Yeah. They're kind of like you see him succeed, so now they'll take a shot on a guy like him.
Well, they
normally don't. Same thing with Khalil Mack's not as tall as everybody assumes.
Yeah.
And like they really want that now because they can get around. The linemen are the linemen are getting the D ends are getting faster. Linebackers are getting faster, and the linemen are they're getting faster too, but nowhere comparison to that.
Well, yeah, it just comes to like middle linebackers are one of the most undervalued positions in the league. You just filling up that middle,
especially with these with 4-3s, they're lost a little bit because they gotta do a lot of coverage.
I expect them to go to a team with a 3-4 that has 2 middle linebackers. Because if he can pair up with a veteran middle linebacker, I don't see how he can't be one of the best middle linebackers.
Where do you see him going to?
Years. Well, again, where do I see him going to? I can only listen to what they're saying. I've heard Miami, I've heard Philadelphia, and I've heard Cleveland.
I think Philly would benefit a lot from that.
Yes, they would. I'm telling you right now, they would.
All right, who makes the biggest impact?
I would like to see Khalil Mack make a big impact. But as you said, not Khalil Mack, Chris Borland, his stock has risen. I believe I heard Kuiper say he's risen from a second, third round pick to a late first round pick, early second round pick.
Kuiper watches extra point. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, his hair watches his.
But I would really like to see Khalil Mack make a really great impact on a good defensive team because he had a really stellar defensive career while he was at Buffalo.
Yeah, it was really good. Now, as you know, teams don't like to pick by position because you end up getting. That's why you miss the playoffs every year by one game because you're picking for position. They're not going to make the base impact. These players that come at that position, you always go for the best players. So if you have the number 1 pick, if you're the Houston Texans, who are you taking?
If I go
pure skill, pure athleticism.
If I go the Belichick route of the best player on the board, I go Jake Matthews just because I think he's the safest guy in the draft. Whether you go by Gene Poole, he was a 4-year captain on Texas A&M. He's Johnny Manziel says he attributes most of his success to him, not to Mike Evans, but to Jake Matthews. The guy can play all 5 positions, and he's just. If you watch him, it's hard to notice an offensive lineman if we're being honest in highlights, right? You think, he's blocking him, that's good. He tears guys down. It looks like Anthony Munoz out there, the way he's pushing these guys down. And being able to play all 5 positions, I just can't see how he's going to at least be a very solid pro for 15 years. His whole family member played all 20 years in the league each.
It's strange how those players are the most surefire players to always do well.
Yeah.
Like if they're projected good, Lane Johnson, you're a good player. You have a little rough start. You play good. It's like they get him bigger. They get him stronger.
Jay Thomas, he's the next Jay Thomas. I think it's just the way Joe Thomas. The next Joe Thomas, the way he's just dominating defenders in college. And he wasn't playing in the Pac-10, playing in the SEC with Texas A&M. Playing some good ball.
That's where you get that and the big
closest thing to the NFL.
I completely agree. Cam,
I would like to take Jadeveon Clowney, but the only thing about Jadeveon Clowney is, do you believe he's going to work hard? That's the only thing about him.
It's this new generation of sports where they have these guaranteed money. They don't have to if they don't want to.
Do you think his talent is going to get in the way of his work ethic? Because, he knows how good he is. So do you believe his money is going to get in the way of him seeing him work hard?
Well, first of all, I can't wrap my head around this notion that somehow getting to the NFL will make him work hard. I've heard that.
Because he's going there no matter what.
Yeah, he's going there no matter what.
Why would that make him work hard? If anything, you would think that would make him completely shut down. He got his money. Okay, now I'm definitely going to not do anything.
Why would he risk himself? If he didn't have a passion for the game, why would you risk your body?
What would make you think that now is going to be the time when he turns it on? And I think kind of like the Michael Vick syndrome of because he's so good, because Clowney's so good, he's not going to think he needs to work hard because he can pass and he won't get benched. He'll be okay just because he's so talented. He'll never make the Julius Peppers impact that they think he's going to make just because if it's not there, it's not there. I don't care how much money they give you, how much money they don't give you. And I think picking this guy first overall is the worst thing you can do to him. if you humbled him, if the teams got together and said, hey, we're not taking this guy. He has no work ethic. And he win the second or third round, no matter how much talent he had, I think that would be the best thing that could have happened to him. But no, they're going to take him because you have to. He's so talented. And I think he's going to have a poor career.
Do you believe he's overrated?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a freak of nature.
His talent isn't overrated.
He's a freak of nature, but he's just his head's not there, and you need the head.
Do you believe he could have used another season at South Carolina?
No. That's not going to make him better.
If he's a punk, he's a punk, man. If he doesn't have a work ethic, it's not gonna. If he win another year, he would have work ethic. So obviously, it's understandable. If you're getting paid $100 million, it's understandable to not want to stay in college.
It's human nature to say, I don't feel like doing as hard as I'm supposed to.
But to not go hard. And again, his coach Spurrier, he did not defend Clowney at all.
He didn't defend him at all.
That's usually
did not defend
your
him
number
at all.
one spokesperson is your head coach, and he wasn't defending him at all. That says a lot. And all these people, all these scouts, they're unnamed scouts, which is bogus.
Do you believe somebody like J.J. Watt could mentor him and show him the ropes, though, and show him how to be a pro?
It'll be like waiting on Des Bryant. He's going to yell at him. He's not. He's going to take. He's going to.
But Des Bryant doesn't have anybody to tutor him, though. You have to think about that. Mike
Irvin's there all the time.
They look at Des Bryant right now to be the next great number 88. Nobody's there to guide him right now.
Who'd Michael Irvin have himself? He was just great.
Well, I don't know why you guys are comparing Des Bryant to Michael Irvin.
They're wearing 88.
Yeah, I know, but Michael Irvin is leaps and bounds. Des Bryant's a joke. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. Or not later, another time, next season, when football season starts, and we show how much of a joke he is. But, I think Clowney is just such talent. It's such a shame, and I think he could be a candidate for some of the least impact, too, this year. I don't see how all of a sudden now it's going to turn on,
Maybe he's hiding it from us. But we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to have NASCAR Overdrive with Mike Nebbia, my special guest analyst. Stay with us.
Hi, Mom. Did you take your medicine?
Oh, gosh, I forgot it.
Her nurse. You need a claim number?
Her personal assistant.
Let me just grab a...
Her housekeeper. Her cook. Her accountant. When I started taking care of Mom, I didn't realize the challenge of playing so many roles. But above all, I'm still her daughter.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving to connect with experts and other caregivers. Together we can better care for ourselves and the ones we love.
Look at me. Hey.
Raymond, look at Mommy.
Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry. Maybe he can't hear us. Maybe we're not stimulating him enough. Maybe it's a phase.
Avoiding eye contact is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
Enroll, we say. We want you to be okay. Enroll, we say. Take care, people, for goodness sake. There's a plan for every budget, so don't accept defeat. Now you can get covered and still buy me treats.
You take care of your pets. Now it's their turn to take care of you. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn about your health insurance options.
Welcome back to MCTV Extra Point. Now is our first installment of NASCAR Overdrive with Mike Nebbia. Thanks for coming with us today. Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem, CJ. Great to be here. Hopefully this will become a regular thing for me as we get closer to Chase for the Championship, NASCAR's playoffs.
Oh yeah. And then when does that start?
That starts in September.
Which is great. That's when we're coming back. Season 2.
Up?
That's when we're coming back.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna get right into it. I can't wait. Now, give me like a little overview of NASCAR. I'm not the biggest fan of it. My uncles are, and me and Nick here, we're here to learn.
We know nothing. You're here to school us.
I know Jeff Gordon, Casey Kane.
Help me out. Well,
what's going on right now in NASCAR?
Right now NASCAR just finished up its first quarter of the season. Race 9 was at Richmond. There were a lot of tire troubles at the action track. 3/4 mile oval, short track, and that means short tempers. I'll remember this motive of the drivers.
Yeah. Should Goodyear look into that, the tire problem, you think?
They should definitely look into that. I was shocked by how many left rear tires went out.
So
I was even more shocked by how many cars were set on fire due to excessive heat from the tires.
That's awesome. That's cool.
So
that's cool about NASCAR.
And Goodyear's the one who makes all the tires, right?
Yeah, they make all the tires for NASCAR.
For every car, there's no up leg on any of them. They're all the same tires.
They're all the same tires.
Now, actually, I want to get a personal. Who's your favorite driver?
Yeah,
that's
Jeff Gordon,
my grandfather,
24.
my uncle's. Jeff Gordon is I guess he's my favorite too now. I got to agree.
Who's the guy that backflips, Mike? I like that guy.
Carl Edwards.
Carl Edwards. Cool. Number 99?
Number 99.
Carl Edwards. Now, you told me back in the set that no rookie has won a race yet this year.
No rookie has won a race this year.
So what rookie gets the first one?
We have a very competitive rookie class, 8 rookies, largest rookie class since 1993.
Wow. That's big. Who came that? Anybody big come that year, 93?
Yeah.
Jeff?
24.
24.
Somebody pretty big.
Actually, 1992 was his first race. It was at Atlanta. It was his first race. It also was Richard Petty's last race.
Wow, the king.
Cool.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Now, but what rookie do you think is going to get the first win?
I'm going to go with Kyle Larson out of the Chip Ganassi stable. He's had consistent top 5 and top 10 finishes all this season. He's going to break through in 2014 with his first win.
Well, I'm going to keep an eye on him, definitely.
Yeah.
Now,
and he's been touted as NASCAR's next big star.
You think so? Do you buy
over who? Jimmy Johnson?
Over Jimmy Johnson.
Huh.
NASCAR's next big thing. He's been touted as NASCAR's next big thing by a whole slew of today's top drivers, including Gordon, Johnson, and Tony Stewart.
That's a nice little endorsement.
No, yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on him. Thanks for telling me. And now,
another rookie to keep an eye on is Austin Dillon, Richard Childress' grandson. He's driving that famous number 3.
Really? You got that? Is he in the? It's in the Dow car, right?
Yeah, Dow Chemical car.
That was at the Wells Fargo Center last night. If you remember, I don't know, Citizens Bank Park. It was out front.
Was it?
I was at both games.
I was a little preoccupied.
He was at the one game. I was at both games because I'm cooler than Nick.
Baseball's stupid.
CJ.
No, I'm kidding. Now, as another thing you told me that a lot of the big racers don't have a win this year either. Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon.
Yeah.
Who gets the first one? Who breaks through and tears it up this year?
Take a look at our Challenger round grid for the chase. Gordon, Kenseth, Johnson, Newman, they got no wins.
That's insane.
As does Greg Biffle and Denny Hamlin. No wins at all.
Wow, that's big time. Who breaks out?
Yeah, come on.
I'm going to go outside of the chase grid and go with Casey Kane.
Casey Kane?
So he's the guy that breaks through.
I like Casey Kane.
He's going to break through
He still drives a Dodge, right?
Actually, he moved over to Chevrolet.
I'm a big fan of American cars.
2012. He moved over to Chevrolet in 2012 to drive for Hendrick Motorsports.
Well, that's wild. And now here's another thing. NASCAR's most favorite racer, Dale Earnhardt Jr. You can't say he's not. Everyone loves him, and he finally got a win. Do you think this is like the first time that he's going to really go for that cup, and he's really going to show that he's the racer that his father was?
Is it a cup in NASCAR? That's cool.
Yes, the Sprint Cup.
Hockey.
He's got something to prove. I can tell you. 2-time Daytona 500 champion, 7-time most popular driver.
Really?
Yeah, people love him. The women love him too.
Really? People love him.
Oh yeah, he wears those Wrangler jeans all the time.
And
yeah,
crew chief Steve Letarte, his crew chief, he's going to be moving over to the NBC Sports booth in 2015.
Another thing, I like you bring that NBC Sports really going. They're going above and beyond. Now they got the soccer, so they do their soccer.
They got
do the
MLS.
hockey.
They got the NHL.
And now NASCAR.
Now NASCAR.
Horse racing. They're
they're looking into the NBA.
Quite the nest egg. They're really.
Yeah, they're really make ABC's gonna have a run for their money.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
Thank you for Overdrive. You're gonna come back. We're having you back September. I promise you.
NFL
Overdrive segment 2. Mike Nebbia. Well, that's our show tonight, guys. One of the special thanks to Nick Lucarelli and Mike Nebbia for being here. As well, Cameron Watkins, get on out of here, man. He's been with us since day 1. We gotta say goodbye to him. Hopefully, we're gonna be back next year for season 2 with MCTV Extra Point. I'm your host, CJ Ritchie. Stay with us. We'll be back.
Good night, America. We're on semester break. You do the math.